Hello, my name is Pastor Kathy Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We are reading through the Bible with commentary. We are in the book of 2 Samuel, which, as we've said, is actually, there was only one book of Samuel when it was written originally in Hebrew, but when it got translated to Greek, because the Greeks took over the entire world, then it became 2 scrolls and 2 books. So we're in the second book, and we are just all kinds of intrigue. King David has his son Absalom had kind of wooed away a bunch of people. They had a civil war. David had fled Jerusalem so that Absalom would not attack Jerusalem and kill a bunch of people. And as he went out, lots of people came with or didn't come with. He left some spies behind. Some people gave some bad advice to Absalom. And we heard yesterday that Ahithophel gave him good advice, but another person said, no, that's not good advice. And Ahithophel went off and killed himself. There's a lot of death in 2 Samuel, and there's more today. So in yesterday's session, or yesterday, whatever the last session was, we heard that there was basically a civil war. Absalom's people were routed, and Absalom got caught in a tree, possibly by his large hair. But for whatever reason, the mule went out from underneath him. He got stuck in a tree, and all of the troops were told, deal gently with Absalom for my sake by David. But Joab, his general, was like, what? You didn't kill him? So he went and killed him himself. And then, of course, David is mourning for his son Absalom. Even though Absalom killed his half-brother Amnon and had a revolt against him, apparently David has a very big soft spot for Absalom. So we're going to pick up actually a little tiny bit of chapter 19 or 18, but go right into chapter 19. So verse 33 of chapter 18. The king was deeply moved and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, he said, "Oh, my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would I have died instead of you, O Absalom, my son, my son." So he is mourning. So chapter 19, we begin. It was told Joab, the king is weeping and mourning for Absalom, for the victory that day was turned into mourning for all the troops, for the troops heard that day, the king is grieving for his son. The troops stole into the city that day as soldiers steal in who are ashamed when they flee in battle. The king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, "Oh, my son Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son, my son!" Then Joab came into the house to the king and said, "Today you have covered with shame the faces of all your officers who have saved your life today, and the lives of your sons and your daughters, and the lives of your wives and your concubines, for love of those who hate you and for hatred of those who love you. You have made it clear today that commanders and officers are nothing to you. For I perceive that if Absalom were alive and all of us were dead today, then you would be pleased. So go out at once and speak kindly to your servants. For I swear by the Lord, if you do not go, not a man will stay with you this night, and this will be the worse for you than any disaster that has come upon you from your youth until now." David is very lucky to have a truth speaker in his life. Although Joab is also he killed Absalom. He has no problem killing the people that need killed and doing what needs done, but he also is very truthful, and there's a lot to be said for somebody who will speak truth to you. And David listens. Verse 8. Then the king got up and took his seat in the gate, and the troops were all told, "See, the king is sitting in the gate." And all the troops came before the king. Meanwhile, all the Israelites had fled to their homes. All the people were disputing throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "The king delivered us from the hand of our enemies and saved us from the hand of the Philistines. And now he has fled out of the land because of Absalom. But Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore, why do you say nothing about bringing the king back?" Verse 11. King David sent this message to the priests Zadok and Abiathar. "Say to the elders of Judah, why should you be the last to bring the king back to his house? The talk of all Israel has come to the king. You are my kin, you are my bone and my flesh. Why then should you be the last to bring back the king? Say to Amasa, are you not my bone and my flesh? So my God do to me and more if you are not the commander of my army from now on in place of Joab." This is a political move. Amasa was the head of Absalom's army, and this is a way of saying, hey, I know you were underneath my sons and doing the army for my son, but you're a good guy, and let's do some peace and let's do some political maneuvering and have you be the king, the head of the army. And Amasa swayed the hearts of all the people of Judah as one, and they sent word to the king, "Return both you and your servants." This was absolutely a political move by putting Amasa in charge of the army. Amasa says, "Oh yes, we do like King David. We do want him back," and sways everybody back to King David. So this was wisdom on David's part, political maneuvering. So the king came back to the Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to meet the king and bring him over the Jordan, because he is from the south, and Judah was the one that never left him. So Judah was the one that is going to bring him back, and saying, "Why should you should be the last?" He's basically saying, you guys should be the ones who bring me back first. So they do. Shimeon of Gera, the Benjaminite from Bahurim, hurried to come down with the people of Judah to meet King David. With him were 1,000 people from Benjamin, and Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, with his 15 sons and 20 servants, rushed down to the Jordan ahead of the king while the crossing was taking place, to bring over the king's household and to do his pleasure. So those two people, Shimei and Ziba, they had encountered David on the way out, and now they're hurrying to encounter David on the way back. Shimei was cursing David all the way out. Shimei, son of Gera, fell down before the king as he was about to cross the Jordan, and he said to the king, "May my lord not hold me guilty, or remember how your servant did wrong on the day my lord the king left Jerusalem. May the king not bear it in mind, for your servant knows that I have sinned. Therefore, see, I have come this day, the first of all the house of Joseph, to come down to meet my lord the king." So he was the one that was cursing him and throwing dirt and rocks at him as they were leaving. He's the first one to meet him and say, "I was wrong. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I sinned." Abishai, son of Zeruiah, that is Joab's brother, answered, "Shall not Shimei be put to death for this, because he cursed the Lord's anointed?" But David said, "What have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah, that you should today become an adversary to me? Shall anyone be put to death in Israel this day? For don't I know that I am this day king over Israel?" The king said to Shimei, "You shall not die." And the king gave him his oath. Mephibosheth, grandson of Saul, came down to meet the king. He had not taken care of his feet, or trimmed his beard, or washed his clothes from the day the king left until he came back in safety. When he came from Jerusalem to meet the king said to him, "Why did you not go with me, Mephibosheth?" He answered, "My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For your servant said to him, 'Saddle a donkey for me, that I may ride on it and go with the king, for your servant is lame.' He has slandered your servant to my lord the king. But my lord the king is like an angel of God. Do therefore what seems good to you. For all my father's house were doomed to death before my lord the king. But you set your servant among those who eat at your table. What further right have I then to appeal to the king?" So as King David had been leaving Jerusalem, Mephibosheth's servant Ziba showed up with a ton of food and said, "Yeah, Mephibosheth doesn't want to come, but here's a lot of food for your journey." And now Mephibosheth is saying, "I told Ziba to saddle up a donkey, and he didn't. He deceived me and you by saying that I didn't want to come, but I did want to come." The king said to him, "Why speak any more of your affairs? I have decided. You and Ziba shall divide the land." Mephibosheth said to the king, "Let him take it all, since my king has arrived home safely," which is probably a very polite answer that Mephibosheth would still have gotten half. But originally Ziba was told to take care of Mephibosheth's property, so that Ziba was told to take care of Mephibosheth's property because Mephibosheth was lame. Then Ziba came and said, Mephibosheth doesn't want to come. And David said, "Fine, I give you all of the land." And now Mephibosheth comes and says, "Ziba deceived you." And so David's like, "Fine, we're splitting the land between the two of you, between Ziba and Mephibosheth. You each get half." So one of the liars gets rewarded, and the other one at least still has half. Verse 31, Now Barzillai the Gileadite had come down from Rogelim. He went on with the king to the Jordan to escort him over the Jordan. Barzillai was a very aged man, 80 years old. He had provided the king with food while he stayed at Mahanaim, for he was a very wealthy man. The king said to Barzillai, Come over with me, and I will provide for you in Jerusalem at my side. But Barzillai said to the king, How many years have I still to live, that I should go up with the king to Jerusalem? Today I am 80 years old. Can I discern what is pleasant and what is not? Can your servant taste what he eats or what he drinks? Can I still listen to the voice of singing men and singing women? Why then should your servant be added burden to my lord the king? Your servant will go a little way over the Jordan with the king. Why should the king recompense me with such a reward? Please let your servant return, so that I may die in my own town, near the graves of my father and my mother. But here is your servant Chimham. Let him go over with my lord the king, and do for him whatever seems good to you. The king answered, Chimham shall go over with me, and I will do for him whatever seems good to you. And all that you desire of me I will do for you. Then all the people crossed over the Jordan, and the king crossed over. The king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned to his own home. The king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went with him. All the people of Judah, and also half the people of Israel, brought the king on his way. So when King David was leaving Jerusalem, Barzillai helped him and gave him a lot of food and provisions for all his people. And now as he's coming back across, Barzillai also greets him and says, No, I'm not going to come with you. I'm not going to come live in your house. But here's Chimham, and do for Chimham whatever you would do for me. So I don't think we ever hear of Chimham again, but he goes with David in Barzillai's place. Verse 41, Then all the people of Israel came to the king and said to him, Why have our kindred, the people of Judah, stolen you away, and brought the king and his household over the Jordan, and all David's men with him? So there's an honor of bringing somebody across the Jordan as he returns. Going and meeting somebody was a cultural thing, and was a cultural thing for thousands of years, perhaps it still is, to when somebody is coming, if a king, a general, or somebody is coming to your town, you greet him, you meet him way outside of town and escort him into town. So he had called the people from Judah and given them the honor of escorting him over the Jordan. And then Israel was like, wait, what about us? We didn't get to do that. We want to do that. And the people of Judah answered the people of Israel, Because the king is near of kin to us. Why then are you angry over this matter? Have we eaten at all at the king's expense, or has he given us any gift? But the people of Israel answered the people of Judah, We have 10 shares in the king, and in David also we have more than you. Why then did you despise us? Were we not the first to speak of bringing back our king? But the words of the people of Judah were fiercer than the words of the people of Israel. So saying they have 10 shares is because it's the 10 tribes of the north and Judah in the south. And Judah is the one saying, we're going to do this, and they did. And then Israel is jealous because they wanted to have that honor, and they were the first ones to talk about bringing King David back. Chapter 20. Now a scoundrel named Sheba, son of Bichri, a Benjaminite, happened to be there. He sounded the trumpet and cried out, We have no portion in David, no share in the son of Jesse. Everyone to your tents, O Israel. So they're fighting so much over who gets the honor of escorting David over the Jordan that Sheba starts saying, Hey, fine, we're not going to follow David. Let's have another rebellion right now. So all the people of Israel withdrew from David and followed Sheba, son of Bichri. But the people of Judah followed their king steadfastly from the Jordan to Jerusalem. David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 concubines whom he had left to look after the house, and put them in a house under guard. He provided for them, but he did not go into them. So they were shut up until the day of their death, living as if in widowhood. So the 10 girls that got raped, women, no longer his concubines. Well, they're still technically his concubines, but he's not having any relationships with him after that. Verse 4, Then the king said to Amasa, that's the new head of his army, Call the men of Judah together to me within 3 days, and be here yourself. So Amasa went to summon Judah. But he delayed beyond the set time that had been appointed him. David said to Abishai, "Now Sheba son of Bichri will do more harm than Absalom. Take your Lord's servants and pursue him, or he will find fortified cities for himself and escape from us." Joab's men went out after him, along with the Cherethites, the Pelethites, and all the warriors. They went out from Jerusalem to pursue Sheba son of Bichri. When they came to the large stone that is in Gibeon, Amasa came to meet them. Now Joab was wearing a soldier's garment, and over it was a belt with a sword in its sheath, fastened at its waist. As he went forward, it fell out. Joab said to Amasa, "Is it well with you, my brother?" And Joab took Amasa by the beard with his right hand to kiss him. But Amasa did not notice the sword in Joab's hand. Joab struck him in the belly, so that his entrails poured out on the ground, and he died. He did not strike a second blow. So Amasa was sent to gather in all the people from Judah, and did not do it. And David sent his warriors to chase after Sheba. And he meets Amasa, and Joab, man of action, just kills him. Then Joab and his brother Abishai pursued Sheba son of Bichri. And one of Joab's men took his stand by Amasa and said, "Whoever favors Joab and whoever is for David, let him follow Joab." Amasa lay wallowing in his blood on the highway. And the man saw that all the people were stopping. Since he saw that all who came by him were stopping, he carried Amasa from the highway into a field and threw a garment over him. Once he was removed from the highway, all the people went on after Joab to pursue Sheba son of Bichri. As Sheba passed through all the tribes of Israel, to Abel of Beth-maachah, and all the Bichrite assembled and followed him inside. Joab's forces came and besieged him in Abel of Beth-maachah, and they threw up a siege ramp against the city, and it stood against the rampart. Joab's forces were battering the wall to break it down. Then a wise woman called from the city, "Listen, listen! Tell Joab, come here, I want to speak to you." He came near her, and the woman said, "Are you Joab?" He answered, "I am." Then she said to him, "Listen to the words of your servant." He said, "I'm listening." Then she said, "They used to say in the old days, 'Let them inquire at Abel,' so then they would settle a matter. I am one of those who are peaceable and faithful in Israel. You seek to destroy a city that is a mother in Israel. Why will you swallow up the heritage of the Lord?" Joab answered, "Far be it from me, far be it, that I should swallow up or destroy. That is not the case. But a man of the hill country of Ephraim, called Sheba son of Bichri, has lifted up his hand against King David. Give him up alone, and I will withdraw from the city." The woman said to Joab, "His head shall be thrown over the wall to you." Then the woman went to all the people with her wise plan. They cut off the head of Sheba son of Bichri and threw it out to Joab. So he blew the trumpet, and they dispersed from the city, and all went to their homes, while Joab returned to Jerusalem to the king. Now Joab was in command of all the army of Israel. Benaiah, son of Jehoiada, was in command of the Cherethites and the Pelethites. Adoram was in charge of the forced labor. Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was the recorder. Sheva was secretary. Zadok and Abiathar were priests, and Ira the Jairite was also David's priest. So they had so much argument over who should get the honor of taking David across the Jordan as he returns to Jerusalem that Sheba starts a rebellion and says, "Follow me. We're not even going to follow David. We're just going to follow." And some people followed him. He ends up in a city of Abel, and the people of Abel are like, "Why are you attacking us?" And they said, "We just want this guy Sheba." And so fine, chop his head off and here you go. And they left him alone and went back, and David is now very firmly king and has, they listed the people that serve him as king. And Joab is back in charge of the army because he killed Amasa, the army who brought a lot of the Israelites over, but then when he was sent to go do the work, did not go do the work. And of course, when you're sent to go do the work, you really should go do the work. And whatever it is that God is calling you to go do today, I hope that you will go and do it without delay. But even if you do delay, God is gracious and merciful and works with us even though we sin all the time. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Like, subscribe, comment, and we will see you next time. Thanks for being here.